My father tried gaslighting me into a mental hospital to keep abusing my twin siblings, so I got a restraining order and ruined his life. 2 years later, he's begging to see my siblings. I'm pretending he's dead. I was 12 years old when I became a mother of 2, because that's when my twin siblings were born. You see, my dad was an alcoholic with the emotional maturity of a child, while my mom spent most of her time either working or trying not to tick off my dad. Either way, there was one thing they both avoided like the plague, and that was parenting. So when the twins, Ella and Elliot, were born, I was left to take care of them. I never really minded though, because to me, it was an opportunity to give someone the childhood I never had. I was failing school, barely sleeping, eating 1 meal a day, all because I was constantly waiting on them. The only parental role my dad played was punishment, but most of the time, it wasn't for any reason in particular. Sometimes he'd just come home from work angry and take his anger out on Elliot, or if he was drunk and saw his favorite football team lose a game, I would be the one to take a beating. But I never thought it was that bad, because he never left any marks. And the morning after losing his cool, he'd always take us out for ice cream and let us buy whatever we wanted. Looking back, it's obvious that I let him manipulate me into thinking his behavior was normal, but it was just easier that way. So by the time the twins were 6 and I was 18, my life had become a real-life episode of Shameless. I had no plans to attend college or do anything other than work and take care of the kids, until one day when everything changed. My dad was drunk driving home from the bar at 60 miles over the speed limit. He was on the road we lived on when he crashed. It wasn't like he was severely injured or anything. Actually, he seemed to be completely fine. There was just one part of him that was extremely bruised beyond repair, and that was his ego. So when he came home, he slammed the door open and greeted us in the way he always did, with love and kindness. "Lol JK," he yelled at the top of his lungs. "Why didn't anyone order me an Uber home?" His tone had an anger I didn't recognize, like all his pent-up rage was coming out at once. My heart dropped and I knew the twins were in the living room, so I ran downstairs to carry them up to the bedroom, because in our house, the lesser you made yourself seen, the safer you were. But I was too late. He had already kicked Ellie to the ground. As soon as I saw them, I shoved them towards the stairs and breathed a sigh of relief as I heard their little legs scurrying away. I already knew what was coming, and I immediately activated what I now like to joke about as being armadillo mode, which is basically just curling up into a ball and prioritizing the protection of my face and skull while I let the rest of my body suffer from the beating. I didn't even cry, just tried my best to disassociate and entertain myself with dark humor. After the first 2 minutes, I heard his breath become more shallow as his impact got harder. At least he's losing weight from how hard he's going right now. At the time, it was such a funny thought that I even felt the corners of my lips turn upwards into a smile. My imagination kept going. I thought about my dad being a Zumba dance teacher and teaching all his students his signature move called the Beat Your Child, where you kick your feet and activate your gluteal muscles. By the time he was finally done, I faced myself in the bathroom mirror and stared at my swollen self, the red pouring down my arm, my chipped tooth, and sometimes in life things are just so effed up that you have to laugh, and that was one of those times. I didn't want to annoy my parents, so I held my nose and laughed silently into my elbow. But once the adrenaline wore off and I felt the pain kick in, I cried myself to sleep on the bathroom floor. When I woke up, my heart